What's going on, Podkiters? So today I'm going to go over how Podkite works, and it works in relation to obviously your charts and reviews and some of the extra bits and pieces we've got in the platform. So from what we've gathered and what we found with ranking in charts and being able to move up in the chart rankings, it's governed by how many subscriptions you get over a short period of time. It's not relative to your download analytics. So say you, over a 7-day period, you get 100 subscriptions, it is going to help you move up through the charts and in whichever categories you're in, depending on, I guess, what other podcasts have done the same thing and how many subscribers they've got. So from what we can gather, that's really what's pushing people up in the charts and rankings. And Apple and the other guys haven't really released what their algorithms do, but that is what we've seen has been working for podcasters out there. So to give you a rundown on what Podkite does and how it works, I'll just give you a run through of the platform. So here in your dashboard, you're going to see your latest top rankings, the categories you're ranking in. You can select which day you get your reports emailed out, or you can turn them off. And then you're going to see here what platforms you're ranking on. Now, if we come over to your charts page, this is going to be the first page where you're going to see how your charts are performing. Up the top here, you've got your recent top rankings. And then here, you're going to have where your podcast is performing. So depending on which podcast you have actually ranked, which player you've actually ranked in, you're going to come here, click on that, find the category, select the countries, and let's go one at Brazil. And then you can see obviously a 7-day period, 14 and 30-day period. So we'll take it back to 30 days and just get a gauge on that. And you can see how Tim's podcast has performed. Obviously, it's performing really well in Australia and the US for business and entrepreneurship, and a little bit shaky through Brazil here by the looks of it. Something's happened around this time, not too sure. But you get a gauge of what's going on, and that must be obviously in relation to how many subscribers he's getting and how well his podcast is performing. And down a bit lower, you're going to have just more in-depth details about the different categories you're in and the countries and the player you're on there, and that just goes by the date. So it's just a little bit more in depth for you to see there. Next spot here, next tool we have is the reviews tool, and this is obviously with the Apple reviews, it's hard to see for different countries. They don't put them in the right place, or you have to go through and use a VPN or something like that to see the different areas and locations, so it can be quite difficult. So here we've aggregated all the reviews in one place, and you can see here I've added some tags which I did earlier, and you just do that by coming here. You get the little tag symbol here, and this is handy, say if you do shout out or reviewers or some of your subscribers that do something in here. So if you do have something in relation to your reviews and you want people to engage with it there, you can tag, say, let's say you're doing something in February, you can tag your review for February, and it's going to come up here where you've got the review tag lined up there. So really handy little tool to kind of help engage and keep track of your reviews, depending if you've got people using a way to engage with you and talk with you there. And then next, what we have is our marketing tool, which is Kite Links. So it's a short link tool that puts all your players for your podcast on one page. So you can see here, I've got the basic one here, which is just a regular link, which is going to be used for your whole entire podcast. So it's a link to your whole entire podcast. And if you go click on the link here, it's going to come up and show every player that your podcast is on, and then being able to click through to each of those links are going to take you to the Tim Ferriss podcast on each of those players. So it makes it really easy for people to find your podcast and then subscribe to the player of choice that they like using, instead of having to share just your Apple or just your Spotify link. It can get quite people drop off really easy. In a day where you don't have much time to get someone's attention, it's really good that you kind of have a process that's nice and smooth. Now, we've also added episode links, which is the same, shows up exactly the same, but it's for creating a link directly to an episode, which is super handy. So you can put whatever internal tab you want here. So it might be episode 1. And then here I recommend that, so say you do something in relation to your podcast, because obviously the Kite Links is for our piece here, and then your destination key here is going to be all on the same URL. So we want to make sure that for yourself, it's evident and it shows your podcast first so you can keep track of it. So would we do something like, say, Tim and episode one or something like that. And then, if you go link to an episode, that's going to bring you to this page here. And then you can go and find the episode you want to link to. So let's go back to his very first episode. So we got episode 1, which is episode, and it's got all the details here. We're going to create that, and that's going to create the same link as the podlink page I showed you before. And if we go click here, you're going to be able to see exactly the same scenario, except it's just going to take you to the podcast and the player of choice that they're on. So super handy little tool. If you have any questions, guys, you can hit this little button here. If it's up there, it means that we're online and we can chat. If not, then you can just hit us up on the our community page here. So you ask any questions in here. We've got a bit of a track of different things in there. So if you're looking for something, definitely hit it up in there. And then if you can't find that and you want to get in contact with us, just shoot us an email through our contact page and we'll get back to you. So good luck, guys, and talk to you soon.